What's up, everybody? This is What is Sports? I'm your host, Tyler Dietz, and with me are
Nick Grant
and JP Cochran.
Today we got a few things to talk about. We're going to be covering mostly competitive eating, okay, in celebration of the upcoming Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest on the 4th of July. If you enjoyed the show, like us on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at WhatIsSports1 with no question mark. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, your podcasting app of choice. Leave us a rating or review if you haven't yet. That helps us out a lot. Also, check out our sister show, What is Nerd? If you're into nerdy entertainment of any kind. We're going to be talking about Batman this coming Friday, which is when the episode drops. And if you have any comments or questions, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. I'm going to repeat this at the very end of the episode in case you missed it, though. Okay, so before we dive into competitive eating, we got a couple of news items to take care of, right? Nick, you watched the College World Series, right?
Yeah, I watched most of it. It went to 3 games. Vanderbilt ended up winning the series by winning the second and third game. Michigan won the first game 7-4. Vanderbilt won the second game 4-1, and the third game 8-2. So the first 2 games pretty close. Well, actually the only close game was the second game, but yeah, Vanderbilt won. This is kind of old news because it happened last Wednesday, but if you haven't kept up with it, there you go. Vanderbilt won the national championship for college baseball.
And I did get to catch the last game, which sadly wasn't that exciting. I did like the part where the Michigan catcher got hit in the nuts by the foul tipped ball. That was interesting.
Now,
that's pretty neat.
I was a catcher back in my heyday when
you were a wee lad.
When I was a wee lad, I started playing when I was probably around 8 or 9, and then I caught till I was on JV. But anyway, so I know that feeling, getting hit in that area. Like even if you're wearing a cup and the ball hits you there, it's like sent a shockwave towards your crotch.
That's good to know.
I know if something even comes close to hitting me in the nuts, it hurts. Like it doesn't even touch me, but if it comes close, I'm like, oh.
So I mean, I know the cup can.
It absorbs most of the impact, but not all of it. But
basically,
yeah,
so it's very.
This guy seemed okay. He was kind of on the floor rolling around, but he got up and walked it off and powered through it, so like a champ. Okay, so we got another baseball item, right, Nick? The MLB London Series.
Yeah, man. Did you guys watch the London Series this past weekend?
I watched the second game.
I know that it was. I watched the highlights. And
I mean, there were a lot of them.
Yeah, I know. It was like one of the highest scoring games in their history between the two teams, and they have a very long history.
I wonder if it's because they're up in London, if like gravity is not as heavy over there or something like that. Like
I don't know.
I don't know. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, maybe they use like a different type of baseball or something to make the game.
I don't know what caused it. All I know is the Yankees won both games. The first game was a score of 17-13. That's a football score. And the second game was 12-8, which is a low football score. And a combined 50 runs were scored, and also there were 65 hits. That's within 2 days, 2 games. That's it. That was insane. It was a lot of fun to watch. I remember I was keeping track on my phone. I was like, oh man, the Yankees jumped all over Boston in the first inning because it was 6-0. And then Boston came back and tied it at 6 after the bottom of the first game. So wasn't really.
Yeah, maybe they were like cricket angels in the outfield, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe.
Because isn't cricket pretty high scoring? Isn't that a pretty high scoring game?
Man, you're asking the wrong person. We need to do a cricket episode and talk about that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And next year, I believe the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be playing in the London Series. And there's talks and things are in the works to try to get more MLB games in different countries to kind of boost the popularity of Major League Baseball.
So was this the first London Series?
Yes, I believe so. I know that the last few years, Oakland and Seattle have played in I think they played in Japan or somewhere in the area to kick off the season.
See, but it's interesting because baseball is actually kind of popular in Japan, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they their whole
Yeah,
separate
that's
league.
probably the most popular sport in Japan.
Yeah, but obviously baseball is not popular at all in London or in England or in the UK. But so I guess this was kind of like a promotional thing, right, to raise awareness for baseball.
Yeah, just to increase popularity worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's great that this was such a slugfest. You know, it's great that it was such an action-packed series, because I'm sure that kind of grabbed the attention of a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, at least it wasn't like 1-0 or I don't know. Because I mean, I know sometimes like a pitching duel for some people that can be very exciting, but it can also, for people maybe who aren't familiar with baseball, that can be pretty boring.
Yeah, it's like people who think that a 0-0 soccer game is boring. They don't like it just because they don't appreciate the defense. You know what I'm saying?
But I was watching SportsCenter after the first game. There was the higher scoring game, and the manager was saying, like, trying to let the people of England know that that's
not normal.
It's not a normal game.
Yeah. Next game they watch, they're gonna expect it to be like double digit.
it'll be
it's just
like
they're gonna be
2-1,
disappointed.
3-1.
It's like gonna be.
That's cool though. Yeah, that was. I enjoyed watching part of the second game. Speaking of international sports, we got some soccer tournaments happening. In case y'all didn't know, FIFA Women's World Cup has been on. Some updates and standings right now. England beat Norway. England had a really great winning streak. They actually hadn't been scored against a single time since the very first game in the tournament.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then you got the U.S. Who beat France in the quarterfinals, which was a great tense match because again France was actually favored to win because not only did they have a team with a lot of promise, but they also had the home court advantage since it's being played in France. But the U.S. won. It's a lot of fun to watch. Then on the other side of the bracket, we got Italy versus Netherlands. Netherlands won 2-0, and we got Germany versus Sweden. Sweden won 2-0. Now the deal with Sweden is that they've actually done a lot better than projected. They were seeded lower than Germany, and they were seeded lower than Canada, but they've beat both of those teams so far. And so they'll be playing in the semifinals tomorrow. Well, the day that you're hearing this would be Wednesday, so that's when they're playing. Now the semifinals game that was on this week on Tuesday, it was England versus the U.S. and that was a very tense match again because the UK has been on fire so far this tournament, but the U.S. won 2-1. Actually, England did score a second goal in the second half, but it was redacted because there was an offsides foul, so the U.S. ended up winning 2-1.
Yeah. Also, there's a penalty kick England had on the U.S. and the goalie. U.S. goalie blocked it.
Yeah.
So, which is actually the first time I think that's happened in World Cup play.
Really, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's
And
awesome.
I'm sorry for the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did y'all see that? I think I read this, that the U.S. is the first women's team to reach 3 straight World Cup finals. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They're breaking all kinds of records though, because they also did the 13-0 game against Thailand. That was the highest scoring women's World Cup game of all time. So this team is.
Yeah, and the goals that they scored were just really neat. Like the way they set it up, and I think they both scored on headers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they just look so good.
Yeah. Well, so as I said, the next semifinals match is going to be Netherlands versus Sweden. Netherlands is favored to win, but Sweden has been full of surprises in the tournament, so who knows? And whoever wins that is going to go on to lose against the U.S. in the finals.
Oh man,
probably.
shots fired!
But the other tournament that we have is the CONCACAF Gold Cup. That's playing on Fox Sports. We got Haiti versus Canada that happened this past Saturday. Haiti won 3-2. Then we got Mexico versus Costa Rica. Mexico won due to the penalties. Then Sunday we had Jamaica versus Panama. Jamaica won. U.S. versus Curacao. The U.S. won. And then the semifinals are going to be, well, one of them is going to be tonight that we're recording this. It's going to be Haiti versus Mexico. And then the next one is going to be Wednesday this week, U.S. versus Jamaica.
Jamaica on.
Yeah, so far it's looking like it's going to be U.S. and Mexico in the finals, though. That's a pretty solid likelihood there. Then we got Copa America, which is on Telemundo. We had a lot of 0-0 matches here with wins based on penalties. Brazil beat Paraguay 0-0. Argentina beat Venezuela 2-0. Chile beat Colombia 0-0 based on penalties. And then we also got Peru beat Uruguay 0-0 based on penalties.
Talking about like penalty kicks at the end?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then we got semifinals coming up. One of them is going to be tonight. They're recording this, and the one after that is also going to be on Wednesday. So for the next podcast episode, we're going to be covering the finals for all three of these. Remember, July 7th. Mark your calendars. That is the day that soccer's on. The finals for all three of these tournaments are going to be held throughout that day. So get ready for that. Okay, so final order of business before we get to the competitive eating talk. We got the F1 Austrian Grand Prix.
Yes.
So what's going on with that, JP?
So the Austrian Grand Prix. So the race saw its youngest ever top two finishers as Max Verstappen staged a mesmerizing comeback to win a crazy Australian Grand Prix, denying Charles Leclerc a first ever F1 victory.
So what's crazy about this, because last time we were talking about F1 racing, Lewis Hamilton has won all but 2 of the races in the season so far. And the other guy, what's his name? Valtteri Bottas, he has won the other 2. And so it was awesome that that these 2 guys, Leclerc and Verstappen, were the top 2 contenders. That it wasn't the 2 guys that have normally been at the top. So that was really cool.
Yes, and so as far as Max Verstappen, this is his 6th F1 win with a 2nd consecutive victory in Spielberg after he topped the podium from 4th on the grid in 2018. And so for most of the race, it looked like Leclerc had the lead. It looked like he was led from start until the very end.
Yeah, he had the pole position, which is like the position that you start off in first place.
Yes,
at the start of the race.
Right. So anyway, but second place is still Leclerc's best F1 result to date, as he outscored his more experienced teammate for the 2nd consecutive race. So as far as the other cars, Mercedes was unable to match the race pace of Ferrari and Red Bull. So this is the first time a Mercedes hasn't topped the podium in 2019 and brings to an end a run of 10 consecutive race wins, falling one short of matching McLaren's record set in 1988.
Well, and I kind of got a little bit of a conspiracy theory about this, because the name of the track is the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. So the Red Bull Ring, and this is the one match that Mercedes lost, and it was against the Red Bull Honda construction team. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's
a little
bit of tampering there. Some of the cars.
So maybe there was some sort of Red Bull fuel that was happening with the...
That's the secret. They pour Red Bull directly into the vehicle.
Yeah, man, gives them wings, you know.
Yeah, it was a fun race. I watched it. I was just happy to see someone other than those 2 guys from the Mercedes team win. And the end was crazy too. Like, because Verstappen, because he started off the race badly, I guess. He ended up in 9th place at the beginning of the race, and he kind of just worked his way up through the entire race and ended up in 2nd. Then within the last like 3 laps, he ended up passing Leclerc, and he kind of like nudged him out of bounds, and their tires actually touched. So after Verstappen won, there's kind of a, what do you call it? Whenever they have to like look at the results and see if it was a foul or not. What do they call
like
that?
a
in
replay?
sports? Yeah, sort of. And so the officiators were looking to see if Verstappen should have been penalized for pushing Leclerc out, but I guess they ended up not calling that. But yeah, the next F1 race though is going to be July 14th in 2 weeks, and then the next IndyCar race is going to be that same day. And so I guess we'll talk about both of those then. Right now, I'm thinking I like F1 better than IndyCar though, honestly.
Is it because of the track?
Yeah, because it's kind of turny and windy and stuff, and I feel like it's actually more based on the skill of the driver than the engineering of the car, whereas IndyCar seems like it's more of a test of engineering.
I guess I'm the only person that has enjoyed watching. I mean, I know y'all enjoyed watching IndyCar, but I think I still enjoy watching IndyCar a little bit more. And in the last few races I've seen, it's not just a round track. There were some turns. I remember the last one I watched, it'd be kind of turned into a log jam because there'd be like a sharp left turn or something, and so the cars would be going super fast. Like, excuse me, pardon me.
But it's not.
Anyways.
It's not as windy as F1 though.
No, you're right. I mean, with F1, it definitely feels like it's an actual course as opposed just to a track.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
But I mean, IndyCar's still great though. It's still
it's fun. I mean, it's racing, and I mean, we all have started to. Well, the three of us have started to enjoy and appreciate racing a little bit more after watching these events, and I mean, they're fun to watch. They're relaxing. And
I'm sorry, Nick. I think they need pod racing. I think pod racing.
Man,
really
we don't
cool.
have the technology.
Not yet.
It ain't. It's not. Yeah.
No, they should have y'all ever play that game Road Rash, where you could
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, it was like motorcycles. You could knock the other motorcyclists off
Give
their.
them
You get
Road rash.
lead pipes and chains and beat people.
But anyway, so on to our main topic of discussion. So, as I said before, we got the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest coming up on July 4th. There's nothing more American than shoving a bunch of hot dogs in your face.
That is very American.
So I guess for listeners out there, we actually conducted our own competitive eating contest, which we will bestow upon you all for your enjoyment on July 4th. So check our YouTube page or Facebook page for that. I will not spoil the results. You'll have to wait and see for yourselves. We'll start with, we're going to talk about competitive eating in general a little bit, but we're going to start with the main thing, the Super Bowl of competitive eating, Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Nick, tell us about this.
Man, if y'all haven't seen this, listeners out there, if you haven't seen this on ESPN on 4th of July, you're missing out. It is amazing. It's disgusting. It's incredible. Like that's exactly what it is. Those three things. It's crazy. But yeah, it started out officially in 1972 out at Coney Island. The contestants eat outside Nathan's on Coney Island at the corner of Surf and Stillwell Avenue. The rules are simple. It's basically who can eat the most hot dogs in 10 minutes, and if you do that, you'll win the bejeweled yellow mustard belt, or if you're a female, you'll win the Pepto-Bismol sponsored pink belt. And that actually started recently.
That's just the best for Pepto-Bismol to sponsor this.
Yeah. Yeah. But, just a little fun side note. So last year, my wife and I went to New York for our vacation, and I was like, we got to go to Coney Island. And we did, and actually saw where they do the competition and stuff, and we ate at Nathan's. And, man, they make some good hot dogs. But also, it's really cool. They have a 3-story wall of fame. They have pictures of previous winners on it, and with the amount of hot dogs they ate in the year that they won. And so you see a lot of Joey Chestnut because he's the best right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was really cool. But anyways, the times used to vary between 10 and 12 minutes, but the contest has been 10 minutes since 2008. And Major League Eating, yes, that's a thing, sanctions the event. And the way you compete or can get into the event is you have to be under the contract of Major League Eating, and it's 20 competitors. It's the defending champion, winners of a regional qualifying contest, and a few other random people that have done other competitive eating.
Well, let me add something about MLE, Major League Eating, if I may. So actually, because this is like the international league that kind of administrates competitive eating contests like all over the world. And it was actually started by like two of the marketing leaders for Nathan's hot dogs, and they started in 1997, I believe. Yes, they founded the International Federation of Competitive Eating, and so their league that they created was the MLE, Major League Eating, and so they kind of tied together not just promoting the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest, but because Nathan's has obviously become like you said, Nick, you got to qualify for it. So they have like regional competitions and all that stuff. It's like the spelling bee, right? And but they also do a bunch of competitive eating competitions around the world, which we'll talk about later. But Nick, so you're talking about the contestants, right?
Yeah, so there's 20 contestants that compete, and since 2011, that's when the women had their own separate contest. And Sonia Thomas was the first woman to win the pink belt, and she walked away with $10,000 for eating 40 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
40 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
$10,000 for 40 hot dogs in 10 minutes. For one thing, that's not bad money for eating a lot of hot dogs, and also that's a lot of hot dogs to eat in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Usually, it's an international event, like you said, Dietz, and U.S. competitors usually win. However, in the late 90s and early 2000s, some Japanese competitors were winning a little bit more frequently. Particularly, have you guys heard of Takeru Kobayashi?
Oh yeah, that's the what do they call him? The tsunami.
So he won 6 consecutive contests from 2001 to 2006, and he basically changed the game. Previous winners were averaging about 20 to 25 hot dogs in 12 minutes. The first year he won, he ate 50 hot dogs in 12 minutes. So that's insane.
Yeah.
People are eating 25 hot dogs as winning, and then now he eats 50.
See, 25 sounds like something a human could do, but 50, that's crazy.
Well, I think part of it comes down to the strategy, and the style that you eat your food or eat the hot dogs. The Kobayashi was using the quote unquote Solomon method, and what he did was he would break the wiener in half, and you stuff it down your throat, eat it real quick, and then you would eat the bun separately. I guess that's.
So, do you have to eat one hot dog at a time then?
No, yes, I believe so.
Okay, so that's why he has to break it in half.
Well, you just get the wiener, then you break it in half so you can stuff it in your mouth, so it takes up.
Always thought they had 2 wieners in their mouth.
No, you gotta snap the wiener in half and then shove each half in your mouth at the same time. Because I guess you gotta eat one at a time. That also makes sense because I was wondering this: how would they keep track of? Because you gotta eat wiener and hot dog and bun, right? Wiener,
yes.
Bun. Wiener, bun. Do they eat? It looks like they eat. No, I guess they eat one bun at a time too.
Yeah.
So they dip it in the water.
Yeah.
You dip it in the water, and then that makes it soft, and it's easier to put in your face hole.
Yeah, but that also is adding more fluid to your stomach.
Well, you see, that's the thing. You start dancing, and you start shaking, and that produces sweat, and the water comes out that way.
I was a kid. Sweat that fast, though.
Well, I'm sure that there's like some science to it, right? Like there's got to be an ideal proportion of water to.
The science is they practice and they just eat a lot of food. It's ridiculous. They did a sports science thing about Joey Chestnut one year, and it was like, this is what it looks like in your stomach when you eat 60 hot dogs, and it was just disgusting. It's insane. It's so messy. It's like you can't look away when you're watching this contest. It's so it's incredible because, like, man, how are they able to eat this much? Then it's disgusting because, like, man, how can they eat so much? And then it's also just weird and gross because, wet hot dog buns are flying everywhere and like stuck in people's faces. Like it's gross, but it's so cool at the same time.
Chantel said that she is never going to watch our hot dog eating contest video because she's afraid that she'll never be able to look at me the same way again. Like, because it is disgusting.
It's kind of gross,
disgusting.
but I mean,
I think that we were pretty clean.
We were very tame compared to this event.
Yes. So viewers, don't be afraid that you're going to see something gross.
Yeah.
We were pretty polite, I guess.
Yeah.
But
moving on to some of the winners of the event. So like I said, Sonia Thomas, she won in 2011, 12, and 13, and she actually competed against the men before there was a women-only event, and she did very well, and she finished in the top 3 several times before 2011. And then Joey Jaws Chestnut, he's won 11 times, and he's broken his record several times.
Sorry. Fun fact, I'm going to interject real quick. Fun fact about Sonia Thomas, she only weighs about 100 pounds.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with her, though, like with the skinnier people, their stomachs are able to stretch more. So that's why they can eat more.
So I imagine that they're just like basically like pregnant after the match, and then they just take a massive dump like the next day, and then they're probably mostly back to normal after.
I mean, I'm sure they'd take several massive dumps.
But okay, so Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, so he's won 11 times. He first won in 07, so he won from 07 to 2014. Then he lost to Matt Stoney, I think is his name. And then he won in 16 up to 2018. And these are the winning totals he had when he won. 66 hot dogs, 59, 68, 54, 62, 68, 69, 61, 70, 72, and 74. That is insane and just crazy. And then,
so when was 74? Was that last year?
Last year he ate 74. And he broke his record in 3 straight years.
And so that's actually much better than Kobayashi, right?
Yeah. Well, Kobayashi, he won 6 times in a row from 01 to 06. His winning totals were 50, 50 and a half, 44 and a half, 53 and a half, 49, 53, and then 75.
53.75.
Yeah, 53 and 3/4. So, Joey Chestnut is an American hero. There's nothing you can say that can change my mind. He's really not. I mean, he's big, but he's not like.
He's not really big. He's average size.
Yeah, he looks like a regular dude.
Like a 35-year-old guy.
See, okay, Joey Chestnut. This is why he's the American hero. He is the American dream. An average guy who does one weird thing very well, and he makes a lot of money for eating a lot of hot dogs and a lot of other food. That's why he's an American hero. And he deserves to be taught more in the school system, public school system. Do it. Dietz, you're a teacher. Make it happen. Joey Chestnut, American hero.
Yeah, I got my vote.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback on this because I talked a little bit already. I was going to discuss the nature of the Major League Eating. Some of the big contests that they supervise, just a couple examples of like the off-season stuff that they do, because you said that the prize for Nathan's is how much?
Well, Sonia Thomas won. She won $10,000.
Okay, $10,000. So we got a couple of other contests. We got the Fat Boys Pizza Eating Championship. It's $3,000 prize. Fortune Bay World Wild Rice Hot Dish Eating Championship, $5,000 prize. The Daily Foods World Gyoza, those are those Japanese dumplings. That championship is a $6,000 prize, and the Snowbird Bratwurst Eating Championship is $4,000. So these are hefty prizes. If you are like a career competitive eater and you're really good, you could win some money. So Nick, you said that you're supposed to train. Officially, the International Federation of Competitive Eating, they actually advise against training because it's dangerous and bad for you.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Right. So
Yeah,
maybe you shouldn't even do competitive eating.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep on thinking about all these hot dogs that you consume at once and what that does, how the long-term effects that is.
Yeah. Well, okay, and it seems like it's just one day, right? But there are actually some career competitive eaters. Okay, let me tell you about this guy. So this guy is kind of he's been around the past couple of years, but I was looking at the MLE website and looking at like their contests and the winners, and I saw this guy's name keep popping up. Jeffrey Esper. Okay. Now I don't know whether or not he's entered into Nathan's hot dog eating contest, but if he is, he's the man to watch. Okay. He's my dark horse candidate, Jeffrey Esper. Here's what he's done. Okay. So he's won the Hooters Wing Championship. He had a world record of 281 wings in 10 minutes.
Golly, that's crazy.
He won $10,000 for that. He also did he won the Mattituck Lions Club World Strawberry Shortcake Eating Championship. He ate 17.5 pounds of strawberry shortcake in 8 minutes.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, I like strawberry shortcake, but that's a bit extreme.
Yeah. He won $3,500 for that. He also won the 2019 Malted Barley Pretzel World Pretzel Eating Championship. He set a world record of eating 26 pretzels, the big fluffy ones.
Yeah, about to say, surely not the little small ones. That's not impressive.
But he won $4,000 for that. And then he won the World Hostess Donuts Eating Championship. You know, those little mini chocolate-covered donuts?
Yeah.
He ate 235 of those in 6 minutes. He won $8,000
Golly.
for that. So that's a total of $25,500 in prizes. And
For eating food.
that was just last month.
Right, all of that was last month?
Yes.
Oh,
That's
my
insane.
Gosh.
Yes.
That guy, how old is this guy again?
I don't know. Well, he's relative. I think he looks like he's in his 30s or 40s, and he's not a big guy. He looks kind of muscular actually and stuff, but he did all that in the month of June this year. So
I don't know, just like the effect on your like.
yeah, well, and so I think that summer is the prime season for food eating contests because I guess there's a lot of state fairs and stuff going on. But yeah, all that though, like there has to be something wrong with them. Like there's got to be something happening. So there you go. Joey Chestnut this year, okay. There's only 2 big championships that I saw him winning. He won the Canteen Sandwich Eating World Championship. He won $4,000 for that. He set a world record of 28.5 sandwiches in 10 minutes. And then he did the West Virginia Three Rivers Festival Pepperoni Roll Eating World Championship. He won $5,000 for setting a world record of 43 pepperoni rolls in 10 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then there's the one more I wanted to point out. Nick, you mentioned him, Matt Stoney, who beat Joey Chestnut back in 2015, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is actually on YouTube. He's a YouTuber, and so he'll post YouTube videos of like a mountain of food, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna eat that," and then he'll eat it. And it's really gross. Like I tried to watch him eating like 16,000 French fries or something like that, and I stopped after a few minutes, but. He's like 27 years old, I think. I mean, he looks like he's in pretty good shape. But yeah, he does this stuff regularly, so I'm not surprised that he beat Joey Chestnut that one year. This year, though, he's done the Salvation Army Donut Day World Donut Eating Championship. He won $2,000 for eating 46 donuts in 8 minutes. So there you go. That's kind of the competition. In a
That's
nutshell.
insane. I mean, again, like it's amazing that people can do that, but it's just wild. It's like, why do you want to do that? But like, I'm impressed. You know, like it doesn't make any sense.
It's like a car wreck. You know, it's disgusting and mortifying, but you can't look away.
Maybe it's just like it's the only thing they've ever been good at, and it's a way to make money.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the YouTube,
it's just like, what do you feel like that? Like after that, what does Joey Chestnut feel after he eats 74?
Right? How do you feel?
He feels rich because he won all that money. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Imagine just suddenly feeling like 17 pounds heavier, though. Like all of a sudden you've gained 17 pounds because you've eaten 17 pounds of food. Like, wow. Yeah, and I guess for some perspective, Nick, you mentioned one of these earlier, like the older records. So there's this guy, Peter Washburn. He held the world hot dog eating record for many years back in the 60s for eating 18 and a half hot dogs in 10 minutes. 18 and a half. and now look at where we are now.
It's 74, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that the
like
news?
when Kobayashi ate 50, whoever thought that someone would eventually eat 74? So
Yeah.
Yeah. Who? Yeah, like you said, like who would think 50 was even in the realm of possibilities?
yeah, they're probably thinking,
Like,
oh, no one's ever going to beat that. But
And then they got 50 coming out of nowhere. Gee,
Well-
it's ridiculous.
They got they actually got a ESPN 30 for 30 coming out. It's airing tonight as we're recording this right now. I'm DVRing it. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Hungry, and it's actually about like competitive eating and Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and about Joey Chestnut. So it's probably worth a watch, especially since we'll be talking about the competition itself next week. So. Yeah, I'll be checking that out. We can talk about that a little bit next time, though. But that's all I got for competitive eating. What you got? Anything else? Anybody?
I just can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
So I know some people are grossed out, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fascinating.
if you guys will excuse me, I'm gonna go eat some hot dogs real quick. I'm getting pretty hungry.
Well, so that does it for today's episode. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We'll be back in your feed next Wednesday. And again, if you haven't yet, subscribe to our show, write us a review on iTunes, that's super helpful, and check us out on Facebook. We're actually on YouTube now as well. We're posting all of our episodes and various video content on YouTube, so subscribe to our channel there. If you want to contact us, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. But again, thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you all next Wednesday.